everybody. My name is Andrea of MAKADREZ.com. Today I am sitting here with Alana Peralta, the owner of the amazing women's organization named Equality for... I'm gonna let her say it because I keep messing up this name. Please say it for us.
Sure. So I'm the founder and CEO of Equality is Equal Pay.
Equality is equal pay.
Yes.
How are you today?
I'm doing fine. Hungry, but fine.
It's early. We all came out early, but we will be done before a reasonable time where we could have enough time to get to brunch while brunch is still going.
Yes, and the New Yorker me is going to run for a bacon, egg, and cheese on a roll.
So how are you? What's been going on with your organization?
I'm doing well. There's a lot going on. We actually had a soft launch on January 16th, which happens to be the Equal Pay Day for Latinas in New York City. And we had a soft launch with our campaign that's called I'm the Face of Pay and Equality in New York City. So January 16th, the comptroller named it as the Equal Pay Day for Latinas in New York City, which means it's how far into 2019 Latinas have to work to make as much as a white man made in 2017, which is pretty crazy. It's insane. So it just shows how underpaid Latinas are in New York City. For women general equal pay is earlier in the year.
That is interesting. So what sparked this inspiration to do this type of organization?
That's a good question. So I've been in corporate America for over 9 years, and I've always been either the only Latina, the only woman of color in certain areas of the business. And I realized that I was being underpaid after having a conversation with my male counterparts. And it was infuriating knowing that I was making less than them just for being a woman when I had pretty much the same credentials as them on paper and experience-wise. So I just started educating myself on negotiating in general and how to ask for more money. And then I noticed as I started mentoring women and men as well of color, that there was a common theme among women of color and their fear of asking for more money. Is the offer going to be pulled off the table and things like that? And also a lot of cultural barriers that prevent us from actually negotiating a seat at the table. And that's what made me start the company.
So your organization doesn't only focus on Latina women, or does it focus on women in general within corporate America?
That's also a good question. And initially it was a focus on all women in corporate America. And earlier last year, I had kind of a wake-up call and wanted to redirect the company because in the narrative of equality or equal pay, we always focus on being equal to a white man, right? So for every dollar that a white man makes, women in general make 77 cents. And we tend to neglect that white women and Asian women make more than Black and Latinas across the board. Simply for being Asian and white when we have the same exact credential. So I'm actually focusing on catering to women of color. Of course, we don't discriminate, but there's a big need being that women of color, both Latinas and Black women, make significantly less than Asian and white women. And it's time to actually change the narrative and address the elephant in the room. Why are you making less than me? I understand we all want to make as much as a white man, but I want to make as much as you do. And that needs to be addressed before we even try to advocate for ourselves to make as much as a white man. We need to address the racial issue when it comes to pay inequality among women.
Is it a for-profit or non-profit you consider it as?
So it's actually a for-profit.
For-profit.
A lot of people ask me that question, and initially I wanted to do it a non-profit, and it was like, hold on. Usually when we're catering to our community, we always want to do everything as a non-profit.
Right.
But I know my worth, I know the service I'm offering, and it's going to be for-profit at an affordable rate for my community.
Listen, I have nothing to say about that. 'Cause it's needed.
Yeah,
it's needed.
No, absolutely it is.
But this man I had the conversation with, his understanding us women, we're winning out here. So why would somebody want to do something like that when women are the one who have all the good jobs nowadays? But I'm like, no, we may have the good jobs, but within the corporate place itself, your male peers are still getting paid more than you, and you're doing the same exact work that they're doing.
Well, introduce me to that friend so we can debate, because what good jobs are you talking about? Granted, we are moving up in the ladder in
Right.
corporate America, or just jobs in general, but executive positions are still predominantly held by men.
Right.
And it's
But
actually,
let me correct that. Not
Okay.
the good jobs. We are the ones who are getting hired within these companies. That's what he was trying to say.
Okay.
We're always getting hired in a new company, basically. A woman could get hired before a man. That's what he's saying.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I definitely don't believe that. And even, okay, what position are we being hired into?
Right.
Because when you start looking at positions in companies, the higher you get in the ladder, the least amount of women you see there.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's
I
also
agree.
actually an interesting article that was published that talks about women of color making it to VP C-levels position are also the women that get fired the most.
Yeah. The Forbes one.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is, to me, it's insane, but I can see that, right? Because, a lot of companies want to put themselves in a position, or are in a position where they hire women to save the company from a man that destroyed it, right? So then now it's the woman's fault when the company fails. No, you brought her in to clean up a mess, and now you're blaming her for it, for not being able to fix it.
Right.
Find someone to
And
blame.
this is why you have a rise in female entrepreneurship now.
Yes.
There's
So
a big rise in that.
yes, there is a big rise, and I think a lot of it is create your own door, create your own opportunity. Comes with that, and I consider myself an entrepreneur, but I still have my 9 to 5 that's pretty much financing my dream or my passion right now, and I'm also a strong advocate of that, because as women of color and people of color, we should strive to have multiple streams of income. We should strive to follow our passion while we're still generating income. So that's what I'm going to continue doing.
Currently, what do you do for your day job?
So I currently work for an ad tech company as a program director of strategy and operations.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure that has helped a lot incorporating on building the actual basis for your company.
Yeah, I think my career in general has helped a lot to build the basis of my company. I've been blessed, very fortunate. I have worked really hard to get to where I am, and I've worked in really big Fortune 100 companies like Accenture and JP Morgan, that has molded me to where I am now and to build my company, and has also put me in front and center of the real issue of not seeing representation in these companies when it comes to women of color or just people of color in general.
How long have you been running your company?
I've been running the company since 2017. It's relaunching with a new direction in March 2018, and we did the soft launch with the campaign, which you can go and buy your shirts and sweaters and things like that.
Is that what you're wearing right now?
That is what I'm wearing right now. So it's pretty much just spreading awareness and putting a face to what pay inequality looks like. A lot of times when you mention pay inequality, they think of people working in retail or working, in jobs where it's known that they don't pay as much. You don't think as people in a VP position are making less.
You would think people think retail though? Because I feel like in corporate America, that's like what a big issue is.
So when you talk about pay inequality, people usually think of jobs. They don't think as of high-ranking, high-level jobs. Like, I don't think a VP would. There is like pay disparity on a VP level, right? Or an executive level. No, there is a huge disparity, right? So when it's usually we don't think of it as we don't think of it in the whole spectrum. We kind of go by stereotypes, I think, especially when a lot of people just don't know, right? So I wanted to make sure that we put a face next to pay inequality and show that it's actually common in every single industry, whether you're working in retail, in corporate America, you're even starting your own business. Women receive less funding than white men do, right? And that's real. And that's real. So it's happening everywhere, and we need to address it.
So what are you doing to fix this problem?
Good question. So what I'm creating is a digital solution, and by that I mean I'm creating a digital platform for women of color, by women of color, where we're offering programs to address cultural barriers that prevent you from negotiating a seat at the table while giving you the tools you need to do so. So there's a lot of information out there that teach you how to negotiate. But you can teach me, but if I have internal issues that are preventing me from doing so, I'm not going to use the tools.
Sure.
So there's a lot, and a lot of it has to do with self-worth. Do I really think I'm worth that much? No one in my circle makes example 6 figures, so why do I think I'm worth that much, right? Some people feel blessed to have a job. No, you went to school, you applied, you got the interview, you deserve it. Now negotiate, right? So there's a lot of issues, internal issues and cultural that we have to address before women of color start to use the tools that are already out there. So I usually give 3 scenarios when I'm coaching folks in terms of how to negotiate, and it's somewhat like investing. Do you want to be a risk taker? Do you want to, be conservative? Things of that nature. If you want to be conservative, fine. Ask for that $5,000, because in reality, it takes a company, give or take a bit under $5,000 to repost it and interview folks again and things of that nature. So are they going to really lose you for $5,000?
Right.
That's a question to ask, right? Be a risk taker right now. Why not? The worst they can say is no. And if they say no, tell me what can you do? What's the middle ground, right? If you want $20,000 more because you believe your skill set is worth that much, then go for it and negotiate from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is really interesting. So is that one of the advice that you give the women that come into the program as far as how to properly negotiate, how to properly speak up for yourself in the workplace? That's a different story too.
Right.
Speaking up for yourself in the workplace as a woman of color is something that many women face.
Yes, and it's hard. It's really hard. I have dealt with my own internal issues when it comes to like the imposter syndrome, which is very, very prevalent with people of color dealing with it in corporate America, not thinking you deserve to be there, or
right.
not thinking that you're worth sitting at the table, or not feeling smart enough because you didn't go to a Columbia or Harvard, and that's where your counterparts went to, right? So that's real. There's no doubt about that, and there's different ways to address it, especially being open about it and talking to people that can help you. Even therapy. I went to therapy for it because I was like, listen, I know I'm the bomb. I know I busted my ass to get where I'm at, right? I've worked 90 hours a week when I was in consulting to build my network, to build my, my skill set. I deserve to be here, so why am I feeling less than or not smart enough compared to people at JP Morgan, right? So, no, of course, I look for a therapist of color. I'm like, I'm sitting on your couch. We need to talk about this because no. So it happens. You should definitely address it and work on being confident in the workplace.
That's interesting. Confident, like specifically, how do you mean? Because confident could come off as far as, oh, Sandra over there had the attitude, but that's just her confidence. And that's something as a black woman, a woman of color, we face.
No, absolutely. I've been
because you're overly confident because you speak out before you don't let anybody, because you don't allow people to walk over you. You have an attitude,
or you have sass,
or you're difficult to work with.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting question. I remember being at JP Morgan, and we had an event under their Latino resource group there, and there was a young man that asked a question about how to help people in corporate America understand your differences. Mm-hmm. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, okay, understand your difference because you're black? He's like, yeah, because, I'm of color and my last name is Muhammad, so when they hear the name, they think something negatively. Like, how do I address that? And, and I became very infuriated, and my comment to him was, you are not responsible of how other people feel when you enter a room or say your last name.
Yeah.
You are responsible to be your true, authentic self, own it, do your work, be there, be present, deliver what you need to deliver, and walk out with a smile on your face. And what they interpret based on their stereotype or unconscious or conscious bias, that is their problem, and they have to deal with it. I'm not here to make you comfortable. I'm here to get the job done.
Were you always like this, or is just over time through things that you experienced working and going through these different scenarios that you became this woman?
I've always been an introvert, so I haven't always been like this.
I would never guess you're an introvert. You do not have nothing in your aura right now that says
Listen,
introvert.
if I could be on my couch watching Netflix right now, not interacting with it, I will, and that's me, and I love it. But I think I became more like this after I became a mom to a black girl. And my daughter's mixed. She's Dominican and African American. She's black. Let's keep it on 100. She's black. As I tell my whole family. And just seeing and reading about issues that black girls go through just for being black has made me take a different stand on advocating for women of color and black girls. I want to make sure that my daughter isn't affected in the long run by things that unfortunately black girls are currently dealing with that I may not have dealt with as a Latina when I was growing up. I want to make sure she's not affected by it as a black child.
I like the fact that you differentiated between Latina and between African American, black girl. And I feel like within society itself, many times the whole concept gets misconstrued and people don't really understand. As a Latina and as a person of color, as me and a black person, our vices are different.
Right.
And our struggles are different.
Right.
It's the same in many ways.
Right.
In many other ways, it is different.
Right. Yes, and I think a lot has to do.
Not to bring the colorism
No,
conversation
colorism
up.
is real. Like,
Yeah.
let's put that on the table.
It really
Colorism is real, especially in the Latino community, especially amongst Dominican. Like, there's numerous times that I've had that conversation with my family members. We're black, whether you like it or not.
Right.
Whether Trujillo, the dictator of Dominican Republic, came and brainwashed you to make you believe we're not black, we are.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's real. Now, not being able to see problems that exist in society for women of color or black women because you're a Latina is, to me, is ignorance, right? And there's a lot of that when it comes to the Latino community that has to be addressed, and now is being talked about more, right, with the women and men that identify as Afro-Latinas and things of that nature. But the reality is, the difference between us is what is it called? What's the quote? It's a stop, right?
Yeah.
It's a stop.
Between everybody.
Between everybody. Dominican Republic received more slaves than the United States. And that's a fact.
Wow.
Right? So
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's actually a documentary on PBS about the Atlantic slave trade, and the Dominican Republic did receive more slaves than the United States. So how can you argue that we're not black? Right. So I mean, it's real, and that has to be addressed.
But that with DR, once you know the history about the president,
oh yeah,
that all goes deep.
Right.
And it's things that people don't even know how deep it really is with DR.
Absolutely.
So when you come across some Dominicans to bring that conversation, and I'm not Dominican, but I'm bringing it up because I've watched a documentary on the president. I forgot his name. The one that used to make his statues being done, and he would make his features more European, but he did not look it didn't look like him.
Okay.
He used to, when he take his photos, he used to put the
Yep,
powder on his face to make himself look more European.
That's Trujillo.
And certain things in history books, he used to have them wiped out because he did not want the children to learn it about their real history, because he wanted them to keep that Spaniard history going.
Right. Yeah.
So the whole Afro-Latina in DR, he kind of slowly wiped that history out to make the Euro-Spaniard history much more exist.
Right.
So this is why I said it's deeper than what people really know it as.
Absolutely. It's cultural deep.
Right.
Right. It definitely is, and that doesn't mean you shouldn't check people. It's 2019. You're black. Go with the program. Like you check them. I check my family all the time, and especially now that I have a daughter that's black. there's things that I will nip it in the bud as soon as I hear it, especially when the comment of bad hair comes into play. No, 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 we're not doing that. No, absolutely not. She doesn't have bad hair. What is her hair gonna go rob a bank? Like, how is it bad? Like, no. And I'm a firm believer of keeping her hair natural. And even with me, my mom used to, when I growing up, used to put chemicals in my hair. And earlier this year, I noticed, this is a completely off topic, but it's related to my daughter's blackness. I noticed that she was asking for straight hair. I wanna blow dry my hair, have straight hair. And I'm like, why? Your curls are beautiful. She's like, yeah, but I like my straight hair better. I'm like, okay, all right, we're gonna nip this in the bud. Okay, so I went to a hair salon and I told them, cut all my dead hair. I want my curls to pop. And I'm still going through the transition. So I just went in there and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna embrace being natural when it comes to my hair. So my daughter can see that and see it as beautiful.
Right.
And I didn't notice, it was like, I didn't realize how much of a struggle it was gonna be for me, and how much, or how important my straight hair was to me.
Really?
Until I cut it off. It's been a struggle learning to love my natural hair.
Oh, wow.
Which I wasn't
because your girls are beautiful.
Or I mean, I still need to go for another chop, but I'm giving myself some time. But I didn't know how much or how big my hair was to my identity. And now my daughter, forget about it, her curly hair, she's loving it. And so, and that's what I was going for. And even if I have to sacrifice a little of me to make her see what beauty looks like, I would do that. And in the long run, also challenge myself.
Right. So let's get back to these conversations. I feel like we just went completely off topic, but
it's all related.
Yeah, it's very much
all related.
Very much related.
It's all related.
So within this journey of doing equality pay, equal pay,
yes.
Equal pay. What have you learned so far, especially dealing with these women hearing their stories? What is something you've learned within this journey?
So I learned what my purpose is on this earth and what I love doing. I also learned how hard it is to convince people of their worth, which to me is crazy.
Wow.
But I get it, how hard it is and how much work we still need to do in order to get to even level or a playing a platform. So there's a lot of work that still needs to be done within myself and also within our community to believe that we are worth being at the table.
Like what kind of work when you say a lot of work that needs to be done?
So it
still needs to be done.
Is within our community and having resources available for our people, advocating for our people, being mentors. There's a lot of times we get to certain levels in our career and we forget to look back and offer that hand that people that look like us need, right? And that's real. And there's a lot of work internally with myself, just dealing with microaggression in the work environment and being able to teach myself how to address it, and being honest with myself and what I can deal with, and what I want in my career, whether it is do I want to continue challenging the status quo in a corporate environment where I don't feel welcome, or do I want to do something bigger than that, like equality is equal pay? So there's a lot that needs to be done, both on just internally in the community, politically, when it comes to education and things like that. So there's still a lot to be done, and I'm hoping to start kind of jumping into different areas and discipline to address it.
So how do you find the women that you do have within your program?
So a lot of it is networking. People believe there's a need and they bring me in to host a workshop, and social media.
Like who are these people that bring you in?
So it can be let's say, program directors at a nonprofit. I recently got reached out. I got an email for someone that wants me to come host a workshop upstate in a university.
Oh, nice.
Which, yes, I'm crossing my fingers for that. I think that would be amazing. I also had a workshop for my sorority as well, which is a Sigma Iota Alpha Latina based sorority, and they need it, right? So I was more than happy to offer them the workshop, and that went really well. And I offered a workshop in a community center in Harlem as well. So a lot of people reach out mostly through social media or friends of friends that heard about me and things like that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, okay, what's going on? What's going on with them and all that? That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm hoping to continue building relationship and partnerships this year. That's one of my main goals, and continue building my social media presence and continue advocating.
So long-term wise, do you want to do it full-time, or you kind of like what you do? It's in your day job. You can't see yourself leaving it as of yet. You want to put a few more years in before you could even make that an option for you.
Yes, I would like to put a couple more years into my company, into where I work right now, and as well continue growing my platform. Would I eventually want to go full-time? That's a good question. As I mentioned before, I'm an advocate for multiple lines of revenue. So I'll see how long I can stretch myself to do this both full-time. It's very stressful. But I'll see where I can take both my career and the company.
So you're a mom, you work full-time, and you run this company.
Yes, yes.
How do you balance it all?
Oh, girl. Oh. That's a good question. I want to thank Jesus, my therapist.
Listen, nowadays, your therapist
yes. Cynthia Branch is the bomb. So it's hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard being a single mom with an active toddler that's in a very demanding school system like Success Academy, and just everything going on. I stick to my to-do list, or at least I try. I live off of my Google Calendar. If you're not on my calendar, it's not happening. And I try to work out to make sure I don't overstress my body. I try to get sleep, which is extremely important to mental health and just clarity. I try to meditate. So the balance is definitely my Google Calendar, working out, and my therapist and my support system. Yes.
So this whole company, running your company, you said you're bootstrapping all the way.
Yes.
So to start it, how much does it take to run something like this?
That's a good question. So I'm trying to be as cost effective as possible. I do have a co-founder to the company, and it takes a couple of thousands to bootstrap it. I'm not trying to go all crazy. I'm doing first iterations of everything, and going into beta with our digital platform and seeing what works, what doesn't, while generating income through other avenues. So right now we're completely funding the company through my paycheck.
Okay.
So and the co-founder as well. So we're putting in from our pocket because we believe it's worth it.
So this year, 2019.
Yes.
What exactly should people expect from you from doing this program? Because the initiative of your company, it's amazing.
Thank you.
As I'm speaking to you right now, I'm like, I never thought about it like that. And basically, the initiative is to understand there is a financial issue, there is a psychological issue that is behind why some women don't feel like they deserve what they said that they want.
Right.
And that's really interesting.
It really is, and it's different.
Yeah.
And because of that, I brought on board a chief research officer, which she's an amazing neuropsychologist We work for her. We work with her, and she's gonna be sort of our voice of reason when it comes to building our offering, our digital platform, making sure we are addressing the issue as well as offering women the tools. So for 2019, there's a lot going on for us. So we're hoping to make the campaign "I'm the Face of Pay Inequality" as big as possible, right? Start the conversation and start addressing the elephant in the room when it comes to pay inequality among our gender. And also start pushing the offering we're going to give as of March, and seeing where it goes from there, and making sure we hold everyone accountable, and we spark the fire under people that think we should make as much as a white man and not address that white women and Asian women make more than women of color.
So how are you going to spark that fire? Because these are people that...
It's true.
How am I going to get close to you? Unless you're going to do like how you mute our camera. Go and...
Listen, whatever
and campaign in front of the offices.
Whatever
Talking about
it takes.
Firebomb. That's the head of...
Whatever it takes, but we're actually having a launch panel in March, which I'll be sure to send an invitation. And the launch is "I'm the Face of Pay Inequality," and on the panel is I'm gonna be on the panel. So is a neuropsychologist, and we're looking for other women to be part of the panel to start that conversation. And one thing I'm desperately looking for is white and Asian women that we can consider allies, right? That will say, you know what, there is a problem, we need to fix it, right? So I'm looking for that person to come to the table and have a genuine and real conversation. And that's how it starts, when you create that platform and sit at that red table like they're doing now, and have that important conversation, and make sure that the conversation isn't only happening within people of color, that you actually bring white women, white men, Asian women, Asian men to the conversation, and have them either be allies or become allies to women of color.
Yeah. It's so true. Like they always say, when you have an ally as a man in the workplace, it's more to your benefit than when you don't.
Absolutely. That's how you start the conversation and start change. And it becomes more powerful. The message becomes more powerful when someone that has privilege uses it in the right way.
But it just bothers me still, because we are the consumers.
Right, absolutely.
A lot of things won't happen without us, but we still need them as our allies to get things done.
It's true.
It's crazy because it's crazy when you look at it.
It's true. I can agree and disagree. I think it's more, I need you to bring your folks to the table with you and make them see. And it's just like me checking my family about our blackness.
Right.
It's similar in that sense.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it. So it's powerful because, you know, we should be able to talk about issues like this among everyone, right? Whoever it is, and make it known and have people use their privilege in a advocating way. So I think it's important, and it should be done. But it's not that easy to find.
That's the thing. Most people don't want to get involved. They don't want the drama.
Right.
But it's not that easy to find. It's not like they don't know.
Right.
Most people choose to avoid the drama that comes with having a conversation like that.
Right. And then there's also
not to say it is drama, but the concept behind it is that I don't want to be involved in the drama that may possibly happen with something like this.
Right. And then when you do find them, they have this savior attitude towards them and come off as condescending.
Yeah.
Right. So, but listen, I'm opening the door to start the conversation and bring everyone to the table and talk about it. What needs to be done for things to change? So it's going to be in March. I'll definitely send you the invite. That's when the company is going completely live, and we're having the launch panel.
Well, if anybody wants to connect with you, learn about more about your initiative,
Sure.
want to support, want to do anything, where
Sure.
exactly can they connect with you at?
So if you want to purchase the shirt to advocate with us, you can actually find it on equalitiesequalpay.com, and you can follow us on equalitiesequalpay.com, and and shoot us a message if you're interested in participating with us, starting the conversation, or you want to be part of that panel as an ally. I'm all ears, all eyes, and I'm looking forward to meeting people.
Well, this sounds amazing, and
Thank
I'm
you.
definitely excited to see what you have to bring in March, especially March is Women's Month.
Yes.
So I'm
Sure
definitely
is.
excited
Yes,
to
yes.
learn more about your initiatives and what you have to bring.
Yes, thank you.
And whatever you did not find, what Alana says, you will see in the bio below. Definitely look there. You'll find the company, their social, their emails, whatever you need will be below. Again, my name is Andrea of MAKADREZ.com. I just sat with Alana Peralta, the owner of, please say it,
The founder and CEO of Equalities Equal Pay.
Equality, equal pay. You know what? I get tongue twists tied with that because I keep saying equal pay, equality.
Right.
I keep saying that. I don't know why.
Right. No. Equalities Equal Pay for all of us. Yes.
Equality, equal pay, just what she said. Definitely look out for their initiative that's coming out in March and their full-blown campaign that will be out then. Again, you'll see us every Tuesday with new episodes, and I will see you next week. Bye.